This is Brooklyn St. Michael with the School of Aquaponics, and this is Ask the Aquaponics God, preventing you from becoming a biscuit-headed grower. Now, it's been a little crazy lately, man. Florida weather has me all jacked up right now. I'm a little congested. It's been hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold all over the place, man. One week is 60 degrees. Next week is 82 degrees. So everyone over here is pretty much getting sick. It's all getting passed around. All type of madness going on. That's just what it happens here in Florida. So forgive me if you hear a little bit of sniffles and all that throughout the episode, but we're going to keep the show rolling. Woo! Now, today, we have an episode from Sentaro de Nicaragua. Sentaro, he's from Nicaragua. He got his system sent in. He wants some pointers. He has a fresh little system that he just built. Needs some pointers, some suggestions. Find out what he can do to prevent himself from becoming a biscuit-headed grower. That's the mission of this channel. So let's jump right into it without further ado. Let's get right into it and see what we can help him with, what he's doing good, and what we can improve on.
Hey, Brooklyn. Big fan. I love your stuff, man.
Sentaro de Nicaragua. I said it already, but I had to say it again. What's up, man?
I wanted to show you my aquaponic setup. I just finished it about 3 months ago. Well, currently just seeing the back, but I'm sorry about my English, not my native language. Just wanted to show you all of the stuff I've done. This is basically my greenhouse, which is not a greenhouse. I have a mosquito net. I don't know if you can see it. I sticked it all together, and I'm using some 70% shake lop. I want to build. I want to grow lettuce, but I made it big I made this space bigger than what I actually needed, so I can use I can do some expansions. But basically my aquaponic system is this one. I wanted to make this video and tell you what I've done, and I want to know if you can give me some pointers and stuff of what I could actually improve here. Basically, this is the outlet for the water. It's coming from the other side. These are half an inch male outlets, I think it's called. I'm not sure. Sorry, my English is not great. I attach it down to a hose that ends up on this 2-inch PVC pipe, and then by gravity it goes down to my fish tank. And now I got 16 pipes. They're 4-inch diameter. I use a drill saw thing and cut out 3-inch holes with 3-inch neck couplings or whatever. Now people use rod cloth for it, but I don't have access to that stuff here, so I had to modify my system, and I'm using a sponge. I had this one set up 2 days ago. Currently I don't have, I have some seeds that have germinated, but I have a lot of spaces empty because I want to fill it up with more crops. But I made a first batch about 3 days ago, and some of the herbs, I don't know if I can see it here, some of them have popped. Not this one. Oh, there we go. If you can see the green stuff over there, that's lettuce, and it worked on a sponge, which I've soaked on water. There it is. Now to put water in these pipes, I'm actually using this half an inch, well, you know what it is, but it's hard for me to regulate water. If I open it too much, water flows out, but if I open it too little, then the pipes basically drain. There's no water in the pipe, so I'm still figuring out a way to make this even, you know.
So the trick is you want to do slight adjustments on each ball valve. I have to do the same thing on mine. slight tweaks and turns to where you get just enough of it coming out, not too much and not too little. You want just enough of it coming out. Now I noticed that the height in your NFT channel is pretty high, so that's saying that you have too much water rushing out at once. So just, you know, tweak it down, turn it down a notch, and just let it rush out. You'll see it flow out nice and smooth. Yeah, you don't want too much or too little coming in there. So just keep tweaking it, and then eventually you'll find the sweet spot for each one of the NFT channels.
But anyways, these are my fish. By the way, this is the drain pipe. It's hooked up. I was having troubles with the water without this drain pipe. Everything was going into my fish tank, but it was overflowing. Apparently my filter is not filtering enough water, so I had to do like a split flow. You know, I learned that from your channel, by the way. But I guess the split flow goes from the fish tank to the water, to the grow beds. Well, I don't have grow beds, but I have the other system. But I basically have this one in reverse. I had to attach 2-inch, well, this thing, because the water flow was too high, even though if I had the split flow set up. Anyways.
So Sentaro, yes, you do have it reverse. You have it with the gravity coming back, splitting flow, doing it that way. What it should be doing is from your sump tank where the pump is at, it should be pumping up under pressure is where it should be splitting off into where you have your ball valves are connected to your NFT channel. And then another portion of it should be connected to the fish tank with a ball valve on that as well, where you can control the flow. So it should not be returning back and then splitting under gravity. It needs to be all under pressure so we can manage everything and you can dial in everything the way it's supposed to be. Excuse me. And another thing is the reason why you're having a problem with the overflow is because you have as your pipes are coming back down and reaching into the fish tanks, you have a 2-inch pipe coming in and you have a 2-inch pipe coming out. Now you have a solids lifting overflow that's pulling up the water and pushing it out. But here's the problem here. Since you have your inlet and your outlet with the same piping, the problem is that when the solids lift overflow is pushing the water up, it's only pushing it out to the next filter, because the filter that you have is level with the outlet of the fish tank. So you have the fish tank here, and it's just going, all it is doing is connecting right across to the next, the solids filter. What I do, this is the secret if you want to keep your pipe diameter matching like how you have it. What I do is I have my tanks high. They're high when I use the solids lifting overflow for them. And as it comes up from the bottom of the lifting overflow and it comes out, it has to go all the way down, not level to the next filtration. It has to come all the way down to the bottom of the tank and to another drain, which then carries it to the other filtration. And what that does is that causes a siphoning effect. And I had to learn this from doing a lot of trial and error and just testing things out. It causes a siphoning effect that pulls the water instead of just pushing it, moving it right along how yours is doing, which is why yours keeps overflowing, because it's not pushing out enough of it. But if I guarantee if you had your tank up high and you had that solids lift overflow coming all the way down and then connecting to another drain pipe and everything is at the bottom, the filter, your next filter is at the bottom of your tank, it will be sucking all that water up, siphoning it all out really quick. So that is one way. That's one reason why you're having that problem with it overflowing. One way that you can fix that is that you can upsize the if you keep it the same way, you have it level with the next filter, you have to upsize the pipe. You'd have to probably put a 4-inch pipe on there to be able to accommodate all that flow that you want coming in. But then again, this is why it's important to do the right calculations. Then again, you might not have to do that because you really have to find out how much flow does your tank require. First of all, you have it. We already said you had it mixed up. You need to correct the split flow and have it coming in the way I mentioned, under the pressure, not coming from gravity. But what you need to do is find out how much water or how much flow rate is required for that tank. And I'm assuming it's a 275-gallon tank, which is, I believe that is 1,040 liters. So you need to have that recirculating at least once an hour. That's what I would recommend, at least once an hour, so you can test and find out how much water you need to come in to make sure you're getting at least once an hour recirculation in that tank. And then you can check to see if that 2-inch pipe is adequate enough to take up that flow. If not, then you're gonna have to upsize your pipe. That's the only way you can do it because of the way you have it set up. If it was higher and it came down the way what I was explaining, then you would not have to upsize the pipe. It would definitely be enough. But since you have it set up this way, you're most likely gonna have to upsize the pipe, or it might be adequate enough. You're just gonna have to test it out at least once an hour, see how that flows through there. If it's still overflowing, you need to have once an hour at least water flow, so you have to upsize that pipe. So that's one tip that I want to give you for that, and that will fix this problem here.
These are my fish. I don't know if you can see them. They're down there. Focus. Well, they're pretty small. I bought them yesterday, and I also bought some. Well, I didn't buy them. They gave them to me for free. Those are snails, I think they're called. They're not dead yet, so yay. I thought they were gonna die, but
so here's another thing, Sentado de Nicaragua. You do not have enough fish in this system to support your growing area. You're gonna have to put feed in there, and you need to have enough fish to consume that feed that you put in there, which is going to support your growing area. You don't have nearly enough fish in there to support that. You probably have about between 7 and 10 fish in there. The amount of feed that's required for that area that you have is going to be more than what is supported by 10 fish. I can promise you that right now just by looking at it. Your system could support up to, I'm assuming this is a 275 gallon tote or 100 and, let me see what it is. 1,040 liters. If it's 1,040 liters, then this system here could support up to 135 pounds or 61 kilograms. It can support up to that with proper aeration. From there, you would be able to feed enough to support that area. I don't know the calculations, how you did it and how you configured everything on there, but I know for sure that it wouldn't be enough just off of looking at it from here. But if we refigured the calculations and did it all right and got a correct balance in there, I'm assuming that it would probably be up to about ½ pound per gallon to support that growing area that you have with that size tank. And also with that tank you have, I would also recommend getting an aquaculture tank. Everything else in your setup is fire. Besides that IBC tote, man. Woo, that IBC tote has to go. That thing has to go, man. Everything else is fire in your setup. I like it. But that IBC tote is just, man, it's not going to do that system justice. It's really not. It's not going to let it be effective the way it needs to be for this thing to operate all the way. So let's increase the amount of fish that are in there, and we're going to need to be able to put enough feed in there to support that growing area that you have.
I have some water, you know, the air bubble things going. I think it's enough air for the fish.
So you don't have to think on how much oxygen is in there. What you need to do is get yourself a dissolved oxygen meter, and then you need to test your water. Dissolved oxygen is extremely important. It is nothing to play around with. It's extremely important. Get yourself a dissolved oxygen meter and go in there and make sure you have enough aeration to maintain at least 5 parts per million of dissolved oxygen. That's what you want to aim for. So don't play around with it. Get a dissolved oxygen meter, maintain that, because dissolved oxygen, believe it or not, when these fish start to grow out and you start inputting feed in there, oh, that dissolved oxygen will go rapidly. And you'll think you have enough just by looking at the bubbles, and you'll find out quickly you do not have enough. That dissolved oxygen runs out very quickly. Dissolved oxygen meter, ladies and gentlemen. Go and purchase yourself one.
And I did feed them bread because I didn't have anything. I bought the fish, but I didn't buy any food. So I bought some bread, and apparently they don't like it that much. I do have proper fish food now, but I haven't fed them yet. Now this is my other filter, my solid filter that goes from this pipe. It goes down, into this fish, into this filter right here. Let me get this out of the way. And wow. Actually, I haven't checked this in a couple of days. Kind of dirty, but I'm not sure if you can see the pipe coming down, coming up. I wonder why it's so dirty though.
So it looks like it's dirty because it looks like those are the shavings from your hole saw when you drilled. Looks like those were still a lot of shaving and debris in the pipes, and those just got rinsed down, and now they're in the filter. So I don't think that's a big deal. Just eventually get all that out, and then you'll be fresh. So it's no big deal.
I didn't really check on this. It's kind of dirty. That's what's going on there. And from this barrel, I had uniseals. I think there were 2-inch uniseals, or 3-inch, no, 2-inch uniseals, and they hook up to my biofilter tank. I'm gonna show you that in a minute. I just want to show you what I got rocking down here, which is basically where my air pumps are. There we go. I got two, a big one and a small one. I wanted to put the big one inside the pipe to give some oxygen to the 4-inch pipes, but apparently if I do that, then the roots are gonna get caught in this little plastic lines, and I didn't want to deal with it, so I just stuck all of them inside the water tanks for the fish and for the biofilter. I'm gonna run down to the other side and show you the biofilter. Hope this is not too shaky, but well, we're off topic now since we're making the way over there. I just wanted to make this video, like I said, you know, so you can check my system out and tell me where I can actually improve. If you can give me any pointers, that's why I'm making this video. The first time I had the system set up, I don't know if you can notice, but I got some 2 inches by 1 set up here, because everything was level, but the terrain has what do you call this, an incline or decline thing. So I had the pipes on, and the bottom, this part, well, the bottom part was overflowing with water because there's an inclination in this place. I don't know if you can see the rest, but it's going like downhill a little bit, so I had to raise this level up. Oh, there's my dog. So I had to raise the level of the pipes about 5 inches and a little bit more.
So, Sentado de Nicaragua, what you didn't want to do is you don't want to have your NFT channels level. That's not what you want to do. You naturally want it to decline, because if you keep it level, like I already seen in one of your other pipes, the water level is already risen, and you're not factoring in that once the roots of the plants grow, that's going to cause that water to completely overflow. The roots are going to expand, and they're going to cause restriction as the water is flowing through, and then that's going to leave the water no choice but to go to the path of least resistance, which is out of the NFT channel. So you want it to have a natural decline. You want it to decline, have a nice decline to where there's no pooling occurring in those channels. You don't want any water pooling. You don't want any puddles in there. You want it to be nice and smooth, a nice thin film running down the line. So that's why you have to tweak your ball valves. Make sure it's not too much water running out, and you want to make sure it's a nice smooth water trail going all the way to the outlet and then exiting out. So that's what you want. You want to take that level off and put some decline in there. So we're going this way. By the way, I'm located in Managua, Nicaragua. It's a Central American country. It's pretty hot out here. To grow lettuce, I heard you need at least 25 degrees Celsius, which I don't have, because this is a tropical country. We usually get about 30 degrees Celsius, 31. During the night, it can get down to 22.
I don't know how much that will be in Fahrenheit. Sorry.
Yeah, you might be wasting your time growing lettuce in a tropical area. I'm here in Florida in a subtropical climate, and I may get 1 or 2 months maximum of lettuce growth. That's it. Right now it's December. If I would have had lettuce growing maybe a week ago, my stuff would have bolted because it jumped up to the 80s. I may get part of January maybe, and maybe a part of February, and after that, that's it. So in your tropical area, you probably are not going to get effective lettuce growth. 77 degrees or 25 degrees Celsius, 77 degrees Fahrenheit, that is pretty much like the maximum, reaching the maximum for lettuce growth. That pretty much is right there, and you might as well just look for something else to spend your time on growing, because that's pretty much going to be a headache, and it's going to be a waste of time.
But let me see if I can show you the pipes. See, this one is almost drained.
Look at that. That's a perfect example of what an NFT channel should look like. Right there. That's what it should look like. Smooth pipe, smooth water going down the pipe, and that's it. Nothing pooling up, not all the way up to the top. Just like that, the lettuce, or when the roots expand, they'll just be, it'll cause a slight restriction, but it won't hardly do anything. It won't really increase the water level. This is what we want to see. Sentado de Nicaragua.
But if I open it up a little bit, it will overflow. I think I gotta get something else for this pipes. Anyways, let me go down this way. Okay, here we go. This is my biofilter. I bought this stuff on Malign on Amazon. They're supposed to grow germs in here, but I'm not sure if this should be in the bottom or on top, but it kind of floats, so not quite sure. Got a couple of this. I think I got about 8 of these little bags. I think each one contains about 50 pellets. Those black things, I don't know if you can see them, but I'm pretty sure you already know what they are.
So I think those right there are media balls for like the aquarium hobby, like for canister filters. That's what I think those are for. Although they still work for aquaponics. I mean, they're media still, and they have surface area for biological or for nitrifying bacteria to colonize. But typically what you would use in this type of biofilter that you have is something like a K1 media, where when you put it in there, eventually as the bacteria develop on them, they begin to like sink. They sink. I think they have like a neutral buoyancy, where with the oxygen and the aeration will begin to mix it up inside the water, and they become self-cleaning. They begin knocking off the dead bacteria, but they just kind of rotate in the water as the aeration is impacting on them. But you have to have the correct amount of aeration in order to have that process occur correctly and effectively. So, but this would work for, the time being, but I think over time, when you get your system all the way balanced, I believe you're going to probably have to do some some readjustments on this. You might have to add some more, or maybe use a different type of media. But this may work. I'm not sure how this is going to work when the bacteria colonize on there, because we need the filters to kind of sink. I mean, the media balls to kind of sink and kind of rotate, because if they're all just floating at the top, then you're just pretty much wasting. You only have pretty much the top surface area to work with. You needed to kind of be able to go through all the portions of the water column in that filter in order to be effective and have enough to supply adequate filtration for your system. So let's see how that goes, and you'll probably have to adjust as it goes on, as your system becomes more mature.
So, and this is my sump tank. It's supposed to be the lowest point in the whole system, but I had to dig a little hole here, and I did raise these blocks, cinder blocks. I'm not sure how this is called in English. Here in Nicaragua, it's called a piedra cantera. So everything is laying on those piedras, and then there's a cinder block, and then I had 2-inch by 2-inch steel bar. I think, I don't know. Well, I don't know how to call it in English. But yeah, the setup feeds from this particular tank, the sump tank. Down there I have I think it's 3,300 something gallons per hour that pumps water from the sump tank.
So Sentaro, your video cut off at this point. I didn't get to see the rest of your explanation. That was the end of the video. But overall, man, I like your system. I like what you're doing and putting it together. Let's just make a few of the adjustments that I recommended. Let's get the split flow done correctly because it's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of headache. So let's make sure you have it under pressure going to your NFT channels and then going to the fish tank, and then have ball valves on the fish tank as well where you can control the flow. Check to make sure you have an adequate amount of flow exchanging through the tanks. And then make sure your solids lift overflow. Make sure it's able to push out the amount of water that's required to be recirculated in there as well. And if not, remember, you can just upsize the pipe. You can upsize the pipe, and most likely you're probably not going to lift your tank higher. That would probably be more work. It'd probably be easier to then again, it may be easier because you're going to have to upsize if it's not able to take the once per hour exchange. You're going to have to upsize the solids lifting overflow you have in there and all the rest of the piping that you have connecting to all the rest of the filters, because they're all connected under gravity going back to the sump tank. So you would have to do that. Or you can lift it up higher, and then and that would be another way to do it. So you'd have to figure out which way works for you. Or you may not have to do anything at all. It may be adequate enough, which I'm assuming it might be. The 2-inch pipe only accepting 275 gallons an hour. That's not, I don't think that's unreasonable to expect, but you can try it out and see. But make sure you get that tank exchange at least once an hour. I recommend getting a aquaculture tank, maybe a round tank for this type of setup. That would be better for you in the long run for this type of setup that you have over the IBC tote, because that's you're gonna have a lot of problems, especially if you have a higher stocking density with solids being removed from out of there. They're gonna get stuck in the little corners and create pockets, which become anaerobic over time and rob the system of oxygen, and it's just gonna be more problematic because oxygen is already a big deal with aquaponics. So let's look into that. Let's make sure we knock some of that stuff out, man. Overall, man, I like the system. I like the way it looks. I like the way you have it set up. It's a work in progress, but we'll get there, man. It's your first system that you're setting up. We'll get there. Everyone makes mistakes, and that's why I say this is just the way this game goes, man. But it can be very, very costly if it's not caught in the beginning. It can be very, very costly because aquaponics, once again, it's not an inexpensive hobby. It's not something to play around with. You get it running right, it works for you. But if you don't respect the game of nature, I'm talking to everyone out there, you don't respect the game of nature and balances, you will be indebted to aquaponics. You will definitely go in debt, and you will feel the wrath of nature the way that it's supposed to be respected. You will come out the pocket and learn from the mistakes, just like I did. But I didn't know any better. That's why I make sure I make these videos so I can teach and give as much knowledge as possible so I can prevent you guys from doing that, because I've learned the hard way. I respect nature. I respect the balance of aquaponics. So with that being said, Sentaro, I appreciate you sending your video, man. I really, really do appreciate it. For all you guys who also have sent videos, I absolutely appreciate it. Somebody's calling me right now. It's Carlos. Hold on one second. Let me see. It's my business partner, Carlos. What's up, Carlos, man? I'm on here making a video, man. You interrupted my junk, man. Hold on. Let me call you right back, man. Let me finish this video. All right, just stay right there. Stay right there. I'm gonna close it out. I'm gonna close it out. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, if you have another video, if you got any one of your videos you want to send out, man, Brooklyn at the School of Aquaponics.com. I'll be looking forward to helping you guys out. And with that being said, this is Brooklyn with the School of Aquaponics. Woo!